Good morning, friends. My name is Moreland. I'm on staff at Heights Church, and I'm also a volunteer leader in the junior high ministry. I want to invite you to take a journey with me. We're going to go to the middle of a lake, in the middle of a storm, in the middle of the night. This event took place in the middle of a string of events that caused such a ripple through time that we still feel them today. And yet this event is recorded in one paragraph in just 99 words in the Gospel of John. So we're going to go to chapter 6, starting with verse 16, and I'd like to read it to you. Jesus walks on water. That evening, Jesus' disciples went down to the shore to wait for him. But as darkness fell, Jesus still hadn't come back. They got into the boat and headed across the lake toward Capernaum. Soon a gale swept down upon them, and the sea grew rough. They had rowed 3 or 4 miles when suddenly they saw Jesus walking on the water toward the boat, and they were terrified. But he called out to them, "Don't be afraid, I am here." Then they were eager to let him in the boat, and immediately they arrived at their destination. Just hours prior to this miracle, Jesus had fed a massive crowd with one boy's lunch. Now the same 12 men find themselves in peril. Right now, they're experiencing more than a rumbling in their stomach. Their very lives are in peril, literally. This gale could end their lives, and they're right smack in the middle of the lake, and they have no recourse. And then the miracle maker shows up. The Creator walks on top of his creation, defying the laws of science. And as fearful as they are, this is even more terrifying to them until the very voice of God calls out to them, "The I am is here." That voice, those words change everything. They're relieved, they're eager, they let him in the boat, and they experience life when death had literally been knocking at the door. You know, life is not easy. Knowing Jesus is not a promise of easy sailing. And in this life, we will experience trouble. And the longer we live in this world, the more we're going to encounter times of trouble, peril even. And I'm sure that you know that because you've experienced it. And in the middle of it, we don't always recognize Jesus when he calls out to us. The I am is here. When my son was a high school junior, he had experienced a skateboarding trick that went wrong. He broke both his knee and he broke his wrist on the same side of his body. But when surgery day came, we were going to put him back together again. We were hopeful. We had the best surgeon, we had a lot of support. But when he was in the recovery room after his surgery, the pain he felt was overwhelming. It was so overwhelming, it was to a degree that he had never experienced before. And as a mom, it was just gut-wrenching for me to see him crying out in pain. Not even the medication could touch the hurt he was feeling. And as I prayed for him, it seemed like out of nowhere came this sweet, sweet woman who said, "I am a chaplain. Can I pray for your son?" And immediately after she prayed for him, this peace descended on my son. It was like the calming of the stormy sea, and he actually rested. And my heart felt at peace. And I knew that woman came as a divine appointment for that very moment, at that very time. And I knew that the God of heaven and earth had responded. Now there's 3 points I want to share with you from the miraculous account of Jesus that John had recorded. And one is that God is the God of creation, right down to the subatomic particles in the land, in the air, in the water. He walked on top of it after all, and in our very bodies. Number 2, hardships allow us to see the divine. We seem to see the hand of God best when we're at a point of surrender, when there are no other options, as we saw in the case for the apostles. And it was the same situation for me as I watched my son in pain and I couldn't do anything to help him. And the 3rd point is that God will identify himself. When the apostles were so caught up in fear that they couldn't see Jesus for who he was, even when he was in front of them, he told them, "The I am is here." And once they recognized who he was, when he identified himself, they were eager to receive him. And I don't know where you are today as you're listening to this. Maybe you are needing a miracle, and maybe you're at a point of surrender and ready to receive the I am. Or maybe this is something that you can tuck away for another time. But my challenge for you today is to see Jesus as you walk through your day. Embrace your blessings and recognize God's gift. Even air conditioning is such a gift when we compare it to the immense heat that we feel during the summer months. And know that Jesus hears you, that the God of heaven and earth sees you, and that he is standing before you saying, the I am is here. I pray, my friends, that you feel blessed today as you remember how much God dearly loves you. And we look forward to seeing you again the next time we get together. God bless.